In our counseling center, we meet with many people who have a very poor or limited understanding of how to implement personal boundaries. This short video is going to give an overview on boundaries. Discussion of boundaries is a very important counseling issue for us, and we see many people who, as I say, really don't understand boundaries and how to implement them properly. There's a book out there by Cloud and Townsend called Boundaries. They certainly didn't invent the term, but they researched it and they have very good practical information on it. And and that's the premise for a lot of, truthfully, of what we counsel people on. It's basically a book on when to say yes, when to say no, and how to take control of your life. A life without boundaries is a life in trouble because people are getting overrun. Basically, a boundary is our personal property line. Think of it like a fence that you might have in your yard around your property. That keeps other people in, or keeps your people in, if you like, and your pets in, but it also keeps people out. And that's how it is with boundaries. We need personal boundaries in our own life. Basically, it's an issue of what are you responsible for. You can set your own boundaries. You cannot set other people's boundaries. It's important to get control over your own thoughts, decisions, actions, and attitudes. And it's important to understand that boundaries are gates. They're for letting access in and out. They're not walls. They're not fortresses in our lives. Types of boundaries: words can be a boundary. We can set things up for consequences for actions from other people. A word of God is a very important boundary for Christians. It tells us what is truth versus what are so-called facts in the world. Distance, time, and emotional distance that we can keep with people are also examples of boundaries. And there are others too, but these are some of the main ones. How do you know you have a boundary problem? What are the indicators? People, as I say, who have boundary problems have lives that are typically at the mercy of others. They're saying yes to the wrong things, no to good things. People, typically controlling people, overwhelm them. They just feel overwhelmed and overrun so many times and just out of control. And truthfully, also another aspect is some people just ignore us. They don't ignore our boundaries. We start to set things up, and the people aren't respecting them. Those are indicators of boundary problems. What are some examples of boundaries? These are verbal ones, but you set things up. If, let's say you have a family member who's talking badly about your husband or your wife, one of the boundary examples would be, if you keep talking badly about my husband, I am going to, whatever, hang up the phone, not see you again for 2 weeks, whatever it is. If you don't give me more advance notice, I am going to do whatever. Do not call me 10 times a day. I am available for a call at 10 a.m. or I will call you back tonight at 7 p.m. Those are examples of verbal boundaries. The key to implementing successful boundaries is you need to set the boundary and the penalty for transgression of that boundary, and also enforce it. Boundaries without enforcement are typically just idle threats, and people will disregard those because there's no consequences. Whenever you get boundaries set up and starting to implement them, you need to be consistent and persistent. What are indicators that your boundaries are starting to work? Many times there'll be resentment coming forth towards you from the offended parties. They're going to call you selfish or just being an angry person. That's a good sign. You start feeling guilty. That's an indication sometimes that your boundary is working as well. You want to take baby steps. No's and yeses, baby decisions. And also what you'll find is, as you set boundaries in your own life, you're going to get a new appreciation for the boundaries of others. Over time, the guilt will disappear because you're getting control of your life back and you know what you're doing is the right thing. You'll be able to progress to more significant no and yes decisions in your life, better goal setting and planning, and the bottom line is you are in control. You are, the dog that wags the tail rather than the other way around. You're in control of your own life. All right, this is important. Boundaries are necessary. They're not selfish, not necessarily easy to implement, but as you persevere, you will bear good fruit. You're going to feel more, you'll be more functional, you'll be more rested, and you'll be much more in control of your own life. What next? Certainly encourage you, if you don't already have it, pick up the book. It's a very well written book. Read it and do it. There's practical things in there to implement, that you begin to implement boundaries. Expect slow and steady progress. If you've had a long period of time without boundaries, You got to give yourself some grace to get some boundaries in place and start to see some fruit. And finally, don't be ashamed about it. If you need professional help, get it. I mean, go to a counselor, go to a Christian counselor who understands boundaries. We do it, certainly, as I mentioned, with our clients. We do it locally here in our local offices, but we're able to also meet with you over the internet and help you do that if you want. So you can get more information at our website. We hope this has been of interest to you, and we'd like to thank you for watching.